Here we are, back at Aloha, in the desert. Aloha, desert Aloha. Anywho, it's a March 25th, Saturday. It's a Saturday salutation. This may be just a tad longer than usual. There's a couple things I'm going to start using this format to make some announcements, because some people don't read all the flash, where everyone's in a hurry out here and just everyone's inundated with so many emails. So I'm trying to use this medium as efficiently as possible. So first off, big good news. Even though she's leaving, it's fantastic news. My beloved number one tamale, aka Erica, who's been with me almost 3 years in July, is flying the coop to with her beloved Alon, who's one of my students and the gentleman who does my videos. They're starting their life, and she's on the end, close to the end of her apprenticeship for being a therapist. So it's time, her time is over in a week or so. So we want to salute her and for her incredible vigilance and dedication and very old-fashioned work ethic. So thank you. And to be continued. Erica's helped me install a lot of, systems. So I'm going to take a break before I replace her, which would be irreplaceable. But before I call out for an assistant, I'm going to see if I can go back to my old way of being the captain of the ship and the head steward, as it were. So it's going to be streamlined. So let's see what happens with RZ doing it back, everything again. That being said, if it interests you to be my assistant, which has now been very refined because of Miss Erica, go ahead and email me at revzo@reverendzoe.com. No, I mean revzo@reverendzoe.com. Yeah. Okay. Yay, team. So I want to go back and address a couple weeks ago at the end of February. Was a rock and roll nigger, and I was talking about just shaking things up and looking at things from a different perspective around the whole Trumpy thing and taking it past all this jazz. And one of my dear souls out there, she had a response that I want to address, and it's not her personally, but it's the tone in which she's speaking through that is what I would like to talk about, which is confusing personal opinion as objective opinion. In other words, where there's a blind spot that I'm seeing where people are so attached to their personal opinion of being ultimate truth that they can't handle anything that may poke into that. And there's a certain level of severity and seriousness I'm seeing that is very pinched. And then there's an ongoing thing I'd like to address around how then our personal opinions that we project out onto the world is a form of projecting it onto Mother, capital M, which runs the ship. So personal opinion, if it becomes your religion in regards to politics, behavior, whatever else, can actually create a lot of spiritual arrogance, which is the most perilous thing on a path of spirit. All the masters say it's the most dangerous thing that you have to work with, past greed, lust, all the usual suspects. So if you can recall that Sunday salutation I did a few weeks ago, anyway, this lovely woman who I just adore, she wrote, that Trump is destroying the pillars is fine with me. Let the corrupt system fail, that he is replacing it with a worse system, a steaming pile of excrement that is filled with lies and brutality. Opinion is sad, if not tragic. It has to be chaotic in the Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga is one of the 4 yugas from the Vedanta perspective, where there's not a lot of time to do practices and going to the Himalayas and all this jazz. You have to, that's why Bhakti Yoga is most sort of advised in the Kali Yuga, because things are sped up it's the peak of everything sort of coming to a place of absolute destruction, right? And it's just part of, from the Vedanta point of view, it's part of the whole evolution. It's called the Kali Yuga because Kali means time. It's the all destroyer, time is the all destroyer. And Mother, as you know, who I work with very directly, really what it is, it's destroying anything that's in the way of love. So the Kali Yuga is where love has become distorted, defiled. The idea of what love is, like it said, it's peak of defilement, okay? That's what she's speaking to. She goes on, but that's, again, with no disrespect to this lovely young woman, but let's not call every renegade a hero. See, there's that all-inclusive thing. You see how sneaky that is? Like, if you feel that that person's a hero, well, you need to go sit in the corner with your hat on, little one, and you need to come back on the program, you see? Very dangerous. But let's not call every renegade a hero. That is just adolescent sentimentality in the place of discernment, opinion. It's not rigor, love the word, it is petulance. So basically, I just got called on the carpet, right, for having my own particular opinion. Very subtle, very, very lovely words, you see? But when you start really, now you could say this response was petulant in itself, because underneath it is the tone of upsetness, like, you know, like a schoolmarm. Like, how could you, don't you know that, right? So I think that was really beautiful, and I really love that she wrote that back. And I wrote back, well, it doesn't matter. Maybe it does. Yes, I go back in morning, her name. I'm always thrilled when folk interface with me. I like this post because you took the time, which is true. Though I don't necessarily agree with the content, I always appreciate your noble spirit, her. To all who want to remember, our human mind's moral code only see a small sliver of reality. Have your personal opinions, but be humble in heart and know that is what they are, personal opinions. Lastly, this is where I want to get to today, very quickly. Let's be very, very careful not to project these opinions on Mother and her mystery. In service, Revzo. And then she wrote back, being gracious too. What she was curious about was that last sentence, and I said I would address it in a little while because I like to let things steam. Well, hey, Fly. So what I'm speaking there of, and I spoke to it somewhere, all these media things, we have one pair of Mother's eyes. One pair. She has all our eyes. You see? And this is where personal opinions are really important, because the personal opinions drive our desires, which that's how we evolve. You can't get away from desire. So personal opinion actually supports how you make choices. And those choices, regardless of what the consequences are going to help you grow. So there's no getting away from them. But it's being very, she uses the word discernment, indeed. But discernment is in itself a spiritual practice. Have your personal opinions. They drive your choices, and let those choices take you to actions, and those actions will reap what you sow. You will reap what you need, and that is lovely no matter what the consequences are. But where I want to address here is Mother's mystery is that what we may think is non-heroic, or what is this, or what is that, or whatever the situation is, we're only seeing it from one teeny perspective. And to project, some of the subtlety here too is the projecting how the Kali Yuga should look, right? Or how destruction should look, or how best things should evolve, you see? Very dangerous. And this brings me to the next thing, which I may not be able to finish now, but I was speaking to it at the Sacred Heart Retreat in Kauai. Fabulous, thank you, God, honor. It's what I see is there's a real danger, because people struggle with this world, especially people who are on the spiritual path. They're really, and we can get sidetracked into politics, sidetracked in all these things. But here's the deal. It is true from the spiritual perspective that we are all connected. But to try to force that truth onto secular society is in itself naive. And it creates a lot of tension, a lot of subtle bullying, right? Because you can't force that level of truth onto the secular world, because the secular world is based on separation, right? It's trying to create a utopia, and in doing so, it's already in conflict with the situation. And that's why there's just no way out here, right? And it's coming, I use the word noble. It's a noble idea. Well, we all want the same thing. Let's just all Rev Zoe, we're all unified. You say it yourself. Yes, dears, at the highest level. But the change only happens in our heart. It doesn't come from forcing people to behave in a certain way, or forcing, like, let's just all put, hijabs on and go, salute with all the Muslims, or let's all take our hijabs off and go over to the Baptist church. It's like not cool. It's like fantasy, It's not respectful. It's trying to force the idea of unity into hearts that don't have that, don't crave that a lot of times. They're going through their own evolution. I don't care who's trying what on, doing what on. It's like having differentiation in the world is actually really lovely. It's from that you find the unity. But trying to force everything, it in itself, this is my personal opinion mixed with a little truth, right? Because I'm not just speaking through this vehicle. This is what I do, right? Study the masters. You'll find it for yourself. You don't have to listen to me. But respecting the differences, right? Then you find the unity. Otherwise, it just creates more war, more battles, and that's going to go on. You're not going to stop that. But the war in here, the battle in here, where do you separate? Where do you want to force continuity? Where do you want to force unity? This is why it's humbling, right? Very humbling. Okay, that's just the starter set. I think I'll end on that. Let's see, I want to read to you. I purposely picked this one because of all the, now Rumi embodied what I'm talking about. These people walking in the secular world from the heart, not from the intellect. This is really, I invite you to seriously ponder this one with me, And if this doesn't make sense to you, fine, sit with it. See what happens. Just don't jump to conclusions here. You heard some words here. Take the time to let it sink in, or not. Okay, Jesus poems, the population of the world. This is Master Rooms, on Jesus. There's a strong connection between Jesus and Rumi. I'm told a Christian church in Shiraz, Iran, has a quatrain from Rumi carved in the stone over its door. Where Jesus lives, the great-hearted gather. We are a door that's never locked. If you are suffering any kind of pain, stay near this door, open it. Now see, this is high-octane stuff. They were unified here so they could see it in another. A sweet inclusiveness and healing mercy are felt around both. The friendship of Rumi and Shams, his teacher, had no parallel in the great aloneness of Jesus' life, but the relationship with children and society's outcasts is very similar. Rumi showed deep consideration for the least recognized members of his 13th century Muslim small town. He would always stop to bow to children and old women, to bless and be blessed by them. One day an Armenian butcher, a Christian, was passing. Rumi stopped in the road and bowed 7 times to him. Another day he came upon children playing a game. He acknowledged each as he would have an adult. And there was one little boy far away running across the field. Wait, I'm coming. Rumi stayed till the boy had come close, bowed, and then been bowed to. See, it's the more simple, like at the daily, how you engage here, right? And I'm not, as me, I'm not trying to change anybody's trip. I'm trying to offer up a little insight for those who genuinely want to learn about spiritual practice and not want to make the world what they want it to be. It's very humbling. Last thing, I called through your door. The mystics are gathering in the street. Come out. Leave me alone. I'm sick. I don't care if you're dead. Jesus is here and he wants to resurrect somebody. All right. To be continued. Thank you. Thank you. Another day in paradise. Here we go, babies. Rock and fucking roll.